Morning. Hello, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How you doing, Oscar?
Hello, Yehuda.
You have a good week?
Yes, wonderful week. You
Good.
pray.
Fantastic.
You pray. Kiddush Lebuna last night.
Say again?
Kiddush Lebuna, sanctification of the moon.
Uh, Ken, yes. Uh,
Last
we
night,
did it.
beautiful. I think.
We did it at shul, and then of course we came home and did it at home too. So yeah, that's why I put
Very,
on the WhatsApp app.
very good. Wow.
Figured since we did it for homework, might as well keep that tradition going.
Starting Purim tomorrow. We'll
Upon.
see.
Yes, yes.
Yes, starting Purim tomorrow morning. Yeah, tomorrow. Mm,
Tomorrow
yeah.
night we're having our Megillah reading.
Actually, yes, tomorrow night. Yeah. It's before the down. You can start at 5 o'clock
And then
Monday morning.
Tuesday morning, Megillah reading as well. Yeah. Or excuse me, Monday.
Tomorrow and then Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday.
Megillah, Megillah reading when? Tuesday morning?
Monday and
I
then
think,
Tuesday afternoon.
Tuesday afternoon. Right.
yeah. Yes. Yeah. Megillah reading first. It's a Monday, Monday night. Monday at 6:20. 6 o'clock at 6:20.
Ken. Yes.
That's when the fast finishes.
Are you going to shul for your Megillah reading?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. My Lord, it's already March. The time is flying, right?
Put my hearing aids in so I can hear.
I can't believe how fast this year's gone already.
Yeah. Get older, go faster.
Well, I'm working today, so I'm not on camera, but I'll be listening.
Where are you at? What state?
Florida.
All right, the sunny state.
Yes.
Hurricanes.
Yes, but it's not that often, and we get plenty of warning. It's not like a tornado that comes up out of the blue.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
yeah, we get a lot of warning, and
What part of Florida? What city?
I am on the Gulf, and I'm just north of Clearwater, west of Tampa.
Okay. Oh, there's plenty. Should be plenty of shoals for you there. At least that's
Oh,
good.
yes. Oh, yes, absolutely. I live next door to my show. So that works out really well.
Yeah.
We
Especially
have a
when
lot.
they all
I'm sorry.
retire, move out of New York to Florida. Yeah.
What about New York to Florida?
When they all retire, when
Oh,
they, move out of New York, come down to Florida. Yeah.
we have a lot of people from Chicago area, but we have a wonderful menagerie. So we have people from all over the world
Yeah.
and a lot of different states. So it's
Yeah.
really, really nice.
Where, Sharon? Where are you talking about?
In Florida, where I
Oh,
live,
Florida. Oh,
in
Florida.
Harbor.
Yeah, we have the same
Transplants.
thing here, but we have people from all over the world retired, right, Henrietta, in San Miguel?
Sorry,
Yeah.
just had to turn off my mic. Yes, so many people
Mm-hmm.
from all over the world.
All over those.
It's
A
a
nice
great
place
place.
to,
Everyone should go.
As long
at
as
least
you're
to visit
safe,
one
that's
day.
what matters
Is
right
it?
now.
Sorry.
As long as they're safe down there in Mexico.
Oh, we are very safe.
Yeah.
Don't believe the news. That's what we have, Dora. Don't believe the news.
Yes, exactly.
Well, I just mean
Exactly.
I
recently.
So
mean,
it's not
I read
wild
the
out
news
there,
and I
huh?
say, are we talking about the same Mexico? Because that's not what I'm
It's
seeing.
so interesting, isn't it? All the
Yeah, it
stories that are
is.
just
Yeah.
stories or
Yeah.
partially true or
You
whatever.
don't have the riots and all of the violence going on because of that drug cartel getting killed.
There's nothing, not even in Puerto Vallarta where there's, the Jabal house, nothing. It was a lot
Micaiah,
more scary being in Boston with the racial riots in the times of the Floyd, murder. Or I've seen way worse in my lifetime in the United States. This is a teeny little scuffle. It's nothing.
That's
Wow,
true.
that's wonderful to hear, but it's crazy, it's just so bad, our news that's in this country. It's
I
terrible.
know it is. It's
It'll be
sad.
interesting to see what happens though in Mexico because it is a big change, you know.
I've seen it many times. Nothing happens.
Oh, really? I thought this was
Nothing
slightly
fast.
different.
No, it is
Oh,
not. It's the same. Like what's different is social media. That's what's different. Yeah.
right.
Do you know
And
what
then
Rabbi Manis Friedman says? Don't read the news, read Torah. That's what's going to happen next. You want to know what's happening next? Study Kitisa. You want to know what's happening this week? Kitisa. That's what's happening this week.
it's, yes, I always like to read the news in the context of the Torah
Of the
portion.
kids. Yeah.
Yeah, because then you can like see how it connects and filter out the bits that don't.
One thing I learned in the Jewish Conversion Academy is that the rabbi said, live in the Torah, live in the Torah, read the Parsha and jump, immerse yourself in that. Yeah.
Torah is truth. News, what percentage of news is actual truth? Maybe 20%, 30%,
I think like 10%. My dad, of blessed memory, was
10%.
a very popular journalist here in Mexico City. You take a teeny little morsel of reality and magnify 90% and then twist it. Like, really, we can't really. Don't
Wow.
believe the news. It's really, it's a business. It's just to generate money. And of course, the scariest and the most scandalous is the one that we pay to be scared, but the reality is very different.
There are a few
Uh,
journalists who are pretty good though. They're like, fearless, but they're few and far between. Good
They tend to get fired too.
That's true. Or killed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Morning, everybody. How are you?
morning.
Morning.
Good
Rabbi.
morning.
Good morning,
Morning.
Rabbi.
Boker Tov.
Boker Tov, Boker Or. I'm just trying to find. Does everyone have a siddur with them? A blue siddur?
Oh, yeah.
We do.
Okay, let's pull it out. If you have it with you, pull it out. That would be great. I'm trying to find one online that I could share, which I'm not being successful at doing.
1 second.
Let's do. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I don't see the blue one online, but you can do the Hasidus one.
Let's see. I can try to post one they added to the class a while back. Okay, fine. I'll start talking as I usually do, and we'll take it from there. Good morning, everybody. First of all, our prayers are to the people of Iran and the Jews in Iran and all of our brave soldiers. So we give them a blessing of our protection with today's class. It should be in honor of all of them. And this should be hopefully a good turn of events, and there should be protection and safety for all those that are involved in these operations. And hopefully one day we'll have some sort of democracy in a land where there is none. And it should go back to the times of the Talmud. The Jews lived in Iran for many, many years, and it was a beautiful place for the Jewish people. So it should be like that as well. And with Purim around the corner, it's very apropos. I heard you guys talking about living with the Torah, and you see in every day that new things are happening and developing, and the Torah has been, I don't want to use the word predicting, because as Jews, we're not predicting the future. We're just living in the present. So that being said, I wanted to discuss, last time we spoke, I spoke about Purim. I'd like to speak about the fast of Esther for a bit, and then I would like to conclude our classes on the difference between holidays and Shabbat. Yes, Yerachmiel. Abba's teaching. Please go to email, okay? My son is not listening to what I'm saying. Okay, let's jump into it. So the festive fast of Esther is going to start tomorrow morning, and the fast of Esther. Does anyone have the exact time? I think I put it up last week. Was it 5 in the morning, 4 in the morning this year? Everybody know?
I think
Yeah.
it was 5.
It was 5. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
5:14, I think.
5:14. Okay, it's going to change depending on where you guys are, but it should be around 5 o'clock. It's, if not the shortest fast, one of the shortest fasts, and it commemorates Queen Esther's fast. She did a 3-day fast. We're only going to do this is actually considered a half a fast, right? It's not 24 hours. It's like 12 hours or 15 hours, 14 hours. So we're going to be fasting the fast of Esther. This fast of Esther consists of, first of all, it reminds us of Esther going to King Ahasuerus. As you know, King Ahasuerus was the king of Persia at that time, right? Modern day Iraq, Iran, all those areas, because it says Persia was a very large kingdom, 100, as it says in the Megillah, 128, the communities, but areas. Vahoidu ad Kush, from Turkey until India. That's what it says. Vahoidu ad Kush. Some people say that the Medrash says, how great was the Persian Empire? You can either say from Haidu ad Kush, from India to Turkey this way, or you can say from Haidu ad Kush, from Turkey to India the other way. So it spanned the whole earth. There's the two different opinions of how powerful the Persian Empire was at the point. So she sacrificed herself by fasting and looking not as pretty as she usually would, because when you fast, your glow disappears, you have less energy, you have less excitement in your bones. And she walks into King Ahasuerus' palace and his room, and a miracle happens that he sticks out his staff, and she touches the staff, as it was at that time the tradition that when you would walk into the room, if the king did not put out his staff, then they would kill you. So he put out his staff, which means he accepted her into his presence. She invites him to the party, and the rest is history. So just like she fasted, and not only did she fast, all the Jewish people fasted. And remember, in remembrance of her heroism, we too are going to be fasting as well. I'd like to go through the prayers and the differences of the fast so that whoever is going to be going to synagogue to pray knows how to do it and how to prepare yourself for Purim as well. So in the morning prayers, we have the first difference in the prayers is going to be let's think. The first difference is going to be in the we'll have a few differences in the prayers. One is we're going to have the special fast Torah reading, which is going to happen after we read the Shemona Esrei, the Amidah. The second difference, right? If I don't have a siddur on me, so I can't. Let's see. I can pull. I see. Actually, I see one here, but it's not the newer edition. I wanted to go over.
Rabbi.
No, Shachar. Shachar we're talking about, the first morning prayer.
Okay.
Let's see if I can open this. Okay. So the first thing that we're going to do different is we have the reading of the Torah. The second difference is we're going to have slichos. Slichot is like the prayers that are going to happen right after we do Shemona Esrei. Usually you pound your chest. So we're going to have a slichos prayer, which is going to be in the back of the siddur. There's like 4 or 5 different slichos for different fasts. So you got to go to the fast of Esther. It's not that long. It's probably, you go there. Then afterwards, you do the Avinu Malkeinu. Those of you that have been to, for example, Yom Kippur, right? They open the Ark, they see Avinu Malkeinu, the whole song with all the different Avinu Malkeinus. This is also going to be said on the fast. I'm sorry, the Torah reading is at mincha time. We'll get to that in a second. So those are the 2 main differences that we're going to have in the morning prayers for those that are praying in synagogue or even at your homes. I apologize, I don't have a siddur, so I'm not going to be able to post the pages.
Can I jump in with a question?
Sure.
It says when reciting Selichot before Shacharis, or if Tachanun was omitted, and then begin on page 409. What situation would Selichot be before Shacharis? And yeah, I guess.
Sometimes we do it not for Timus Esther, but you'll do Slichot before Shacharis, before Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. You do a few days of Slichot. So those days you'll do it before prayers. Also, the Sephardic tradition is to do Slichot for a month. So they do it also before prayers. So right. So that's where they would be doing it. But in general, we do it just where the normal, time right after the Shemona Esrei prayers, when you would pound your chest and say Avinu Malkeinu, you say Ashanu Baganu Gazanu Gazanu, all those. I think the word is like laminations. All of those prayers, you'll skip to the Slichot and you'll do it there. Then afterwards, you see the Avinu Malkeinu and you continue your day. Now, Mincha is going to be a little different. The middle day prayer, we're going to have the special reading for fasts, and you'll also have the Haftorah afterwards, the special Haftorah. So just like you would have in synagogue on Shabbat, where they have the main prayer on Shabbat, and then they have the after prayer on Shabbat. So what I mean by that is they read the Torah, the 7 aliyot, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then they read the maftir, the Haftorah. The maftir, which is like an extra small piece. So I'm giving you this number so you see like 7 people stand up. They get an honor at the Torah. And there's an 8th person who gets an honor at the Torah. This is called the maftir, Haftorah aliyah. And that person is getting two things. He's getting a rereading of a portion of the seventh Aliyah. Then when they close with the Torah, he's going to read the Haftorah. As we've discussed in the past, the Haftorah is something that was created in the time of the Hanukkah story in order to take the place of the Torah reading, because they were not allowed to read the Torah in public. That was against the rules of the Greek Assyrians. So therefore, the Jews took portions of Tanakh, which is the books of the prophets, and they found ones that they felt were in a certain level comparable and represented the Parsha, and those are the ones they read in communal settings. This day, till these days, we continue this tradition that whenever we read the Torah on Shabbat, or there's supposed to be a communal reading, we also read the Haftorah, which is the portion of the books of the prophets. So there's a special reading that we have from the books of the prophets that is read on the day of a fast day. In addition, during the Amidah, which the Amidah is the Shemoneh Esrei, the 18 blessings that we say every day. Shemani, everyone, we say this 3 times a day: Shachas, Mincha, Ma'ariv, the morning prayer, the evening prayer, and the afternoon prayer. It's the quintessential part of the prayer. So during the Mincha time, there's a special prayer that's added. You'll see it's right after let's see what number prayer it is, 3. Probably after like the 15th prayer. I think it's the Shema Kalenu prayer, which is like, hear our voice. That's the English line. You'll see that there is a gray box under it, and it says add in days of fasting. So that is added in the Shemoneh Esrei prayer. I do not have a siddur in front of me, so I'm doing this from memory. So if anyone sees it and they want to say the page and what we're looking at, that would be great if you can mention that.
It's page 108 at the top of, it's the first gray box on page 108.
Great. Also, the cantor responds with his own special fast day reading in the repetition of the Amidah. For those of you who don't know, in shul, when we pray together, there's something called the repetition of the Amidah, and that is when the person that is leading the prayer, he repeats the Shemoneh Esrei. He repeats. If everyone can put themselves on mute, that'd be great. Thank you all. Awesome. Feel free to turn your mics on whenever you want to say something, but while we're speaking, keep it off so we can have some organization. Okay. We do something called the repetition of the Amidah. That is in all three, the first 2 prayers, so Shacharis and Mincha, we repeat the Amidah, we repeat the essential prayer. The main reason was there were a lot of people who couldn't read in the olden days. And so therefore, the leader of the community who was reading would say the Amidah out loud, and everybody would answer Amen, which means like, I accept, I agree to what you're saying. So that way the main prayer was able to be done by even those that couldn't read and those that were simple. So that's why we repeat it, even though these days most people, again, can read. We live in a different age. Nonetheless, we still do this tradition, and we also get extra benefits because we say more amens to more blessings. Again, by Mincha, we'll do the Avidu Malkeinu, and that is the prayer when they open the ark and they say, Avinu, our Father, Malkeinu, our King, Chanenu, Vanenu, Kienu, Namazim, right? We pray to God, and there's a whole bunch of different Avinu Malkeinus, 20, 30 different Avinu Malkeinus that we read, and then we go back to the normal prayer. So that is the differences in prayer for the days of Tinus Esther. Again, the word Tinus just means a fast. Tinus means a fast. Esther, the fast of Esther. We discussed this last week, but there's a tradition to do the half a shekel. Well, again, reminding everybody what's a half a shekel. At the time of the Mishkan and moving forward, all Jews gave half a coin every year to count all the Jewish people, right? So, if those of you that have been keeping up with your Torah readings, we've discussed this a few weeks back, that you give half a coin to the Holy Temple or the Mishkan, and that half a coin gets counted. One, it's very the way we count everybody. If everyone gets one coin and you count up all the coins, you know how many people are there. Number two, that went to the karbanos, that went to the sacrifices that were given in the Holy Temple and the Mishkan. And in this way, every single person had a part in the sacrifices. When they say, for example, in the Mishkan or the basic Midrash, they gave communal sacrifices, right? What does that mean, communal sacrifices? Because the community literally paid for it. Everybody gave a half a coin, and when you have a few million people giving half a coin, every animal they bought, every sacrifice that they gave, all Jews had a part in that. Now, why are we doing it on Tinus Esther? In theory, we can do it at any time of the year. The reason is because, right, there's no base of Mikdash now, there's no Holy Temple, so we're not doing it now. So then, if that's the case, why are we doing it on Purim? So one of the reasons are because it says that Haman paid Achashverosh 10,000 coins to get his decree written down, signed, and sealed. So in order to counteract this decree that was done through coins, we respond to that through counting the Jews through coins.
Rabbi,
Yes.
I tried to kind of figure out, I was confused at what that literally meant for us today with three half coins. Like the way that Rabbi was explaining it, I tried to, but I couldn't figure it out. Like what do we actually do? We want to use ideally like half dollars. So what do we do?
So, okay, you're asking how is the actual deed done? How do we do it in practice in the synagogue? So what we do is, in most synagogues, they'll put out a plate with 3 half coins. They use these days the half coins that are silver, right? Because it's supposed to be silver dollars. That's what the Jews gave, half a silver dollar. So in most shuls, somebody in the shul itself owns like the silver dollars that were minted in like the 60s, the 50s that actually had silver in it, not like the half coins that we have now. And they'll have 3 of them sitting in the shul. You'll walk over to those silver dollars. You pay for those dollars. So you pick 3 up. You put down $1.50. And you say, I have acquired these $3. These are my silver coins, right? Because you have to do this act of giving 3 silver coins to the synagogue, right? Because the synagogue is a representation of, we call it the mini holy temple. Every synagogue is a mini holy temple. So you go into shul, you pick up the silver dollars, you say, I claim to this, I accept this. You put down $1.50, you go like this, then you put it back on the plate, you donate it to the synagogue. So you bought the silver dollars, you gave it to the synagogue, and then you put the $1.50 down. You take the 3 coins, which is $1.50 because it's 50 cents each, and you put it back down. Now, do you have to? If we're already discussing this, do you have to do this for the whole family? The tradition is anybody over bar mitzvah, you should be doing it for. So if you have a family of, a husband, a wife, and a kid, we'll pick 3 people. It's an easy number. So what I would do, right, is you walk into the synagogue. 3 times 150 is $4.50. You would put down $4.50 into the communal pot. You pick up the 3 coins, pick it up, put it down once. Pick it up, put it down twice. Pick it up, put it down 3 times, right? Every time you do it, you're buying those coins because you put the money down to buy those coins. And then you're donating those coins back to the synagogue. The reason is most of us do not own half silver coins. In theory, if you owned the half silver coins, you wouldn't have to give the money and do this whole transaction, then you just put down 3 silver coins. Right? That makes sense? Pretty
Question, Rabbi.
simple. Yeah.
So, in a sense, um, monetary paper is not really recognized as monetary, or is it just for tradition's sake that silver coins are used because that's what was used in the past, in a sense?
Yeah, so exactly. So we're using the half coins because the Torah says you have to give half a coin. Now we just don't have actual half. Most people don't have half coins laying around their house. So what we do is in the synagogues they'll put down a half a coin so that people can transfer their dollars into half coins and do the mitzvah. Also, it has to be silver coins, right? The Torah says a half a silver dollar. We don't. Most people don't have half a silver dollar these days. In addition, this same tradition is done for buying back the firstborn, right? When somebody has a firstborn son.
And if I do have those silver dollars, do I have to?
Do you have a firstborn son?
Oh no.
No. So if you had a firstborn son, after 30 days, you'd have to buy back your son. How do you buy back your firstborn? With silver dollars. So you do the same tradition. You basically you're paying a friend or whoever has silver dollars. You buy it off them. You pay the Kohen with the silver dollars, and then somebody buys it back. So yeah, we're continuing the tradition of what they did in the Holy Temple. So it has to be with silver dollars. So if you had your own silver dollars, you do not have to bring them to the shul and drop them in the pot because every single shul in the modern era owns their own silver dollars. Even I'm pretty sure you could even go to a bank and buy silver dollars as well. If you want to be really cool, you go to a bank, pick up a whole bunch of silver dollars, and drop them in the communal box. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. So yeah, so you should be you should probably walk into shul with cash the day of the fast. You can do it any day of the fast, and you can do it any day of Purim. So you have 2 days basically. The best days to do it are these 2 days to do this tradition of picking up the coins and putting it down. Back to what I was saying about who should do it. You should do it for any halachically. It's supposed to be done. Let's say traditionally for anyone that is over bar or bat mitzvah. So any boy that's over 13 and any girl that's over 12. Can you do it for a child? The answer is yes. The only thing you have to have in mind is that if you do it for a child once, you always need to do it for a child. That is the rule. So once you start doing this tradition for somebody in your family, right? You say, Ma'ila Makodesh, we only go up in holiness, we don't go down in holiness. So once you start doing something extra for somebody, you don't decrease from that.
That's the same thing with the candles, right? With
Exactly. Same thing with the candles. If you add Shabbos candles, for whatever the reasons are, whether you forgot to light Shabbos candles one week or you're doing it in honor of somebody else, you don't decrease from adding light to the world. So too the same with tefillin, right? Chabad tradition and the Hasidic tradition is to wear 2 pairs of tefillin. You don't start putting on 2 pairs of tefillin and then one day decide, okay, I'm going to do just one today, right? It doesn't work that way. Once you're moving up in holiness, you don't decrease in holiness. It's a perfect example. We just discussed about reading the Haftorah, right? The Haftorah is a tradition that was started because we couldn't read the Torah. Now that we have the Torah, why are we reading the Haftorah anymore? Because we only add in holiness, we never take away in holiness, right? That's where a lot of our traditions stem from, things that we couldn't do other things. So we started our traditions, and then when the need for those traditions disappear, we still retain that holiness. And not only that, we see it as a gift. We see it as a gift that we have to now add new holy things that we were not done beforehand. Okay, after we read the mincha, we all go home. Whatever you're doing, I don't know, you're still fasting. Then you'll come to shul and you'll hear the Megillah. After the Megillah reading, you will then break your fast. Now let's say you're starving. Can you break your fast before the Megillah reading? The answer is yes, you can if you need to. If you're not feeling well, you think you're not going to, make it through, you can break your fast before the Megillah reading. If you're a young, strong guy and it's not a problem, or you're a healthy girl, there's no reason to do it. But if you're not feeling well, it's okay to break the fast after the time that the fast is over, before the Megillah reading, right? Because the Megillah reading has to be read at night. So therefore, it has to be after the fast is finished. Good. Did Rabbi Winner, if anyone was on Rabbi Winner's classes, did Rabbi Winner talk about Megillah reading? No.
No.
Good. I'll talk about it then. So just some basic ideas about the Megillah reading. You have to hear every single word of the Megillah. If you miss one word, you have not fulfilled your obligation of hearing the Megillah. With other things, we're not so strict, like Torah reading and stuff like that. We're not so crazy about you hearing every single word. If you're in the shul and you're basically there and you're chatting in the back, right, you fulfilled your mitzvah of hearing the Torah reading. But when it comes to Megillah, it's a very special mitzvah that only happens twice a year, right? The night and the day of. You hear the Megillah twice. And if you miss one word, you have not fulfilled your obligation of reading the Megillah. On top of that, there is no mitzvah to hear the Megillah in order. Meaning, if you heard the second half of the Megillah, you could later go hear the first half. Okay? You don't have to hear the whole thing in one sitting. Why am I saying that? Let's say you come to the shul, you hear the Megillah, and you have a baby, and you have to run out for the last 5 minutes of the Megillah reading. The baby's crying. You could go back now to shul if there's a second reading and hear only the last 5 minutes of the Megillah reading. Right? There's a mitzvah when it comes to reading the Torah, the 5 books of Moses, that it has to be kiseder, which means in order. When you hear the Torah reading, you can't hear the first three, the fifth, right? Megillah, you don't have to kiseder. Seconds. Okay. Who should hear the Megillah reading? Both men and women. Children should listen to it, but they do not have to, in theory. If your kid is going to, what age should your child listen to Megillah? Probably whatever age a child is not going to disturb the shul, right? Because everybody else, again, this is a very special mitzvah, and everyone there is going to try to hear every single word. So if your kid's going to be there sword fighting, because he has a sword fighting costume, it's going to be a challenge. So when we do the Megillah reading, we try to make sure that if you have a kid, child, whether, there's a few strategies here as a father of children. Perhaps if there's 2 Megillah readings in the shul, one parent takes all the kids while one parent hears the Megillah, and they can swap. Or you have a babysitter just for the Megillah reading. A lot of synagogues have kids programs. There's a lot of different strategies you want to use in order to try to hear every word of the Megillah. Now, there's a few other things you'll see when you go to shul. One is sometimes in shul you'll see other people holding a Megillah. Has anybody here experienced that? A raise of hands. I'm not seeing any hands here. Okay. We don't have so many seasoned Megillah listeners here yet. So when you go to shul to hear the Megillah, you'll see something very interesting, which is when you go to shul on Shabbat, we do not see people sitting in their seats holding a full Torah, right? But you could hold a paper book of the Torah, which is the 5 books of Moses in a book, but you don't see them actually holding a whole scroll at their seat. When it comes to Megillah reading, people are actually holding their own scrolls. And the reason is because they want to hear every single word. If you miss a word, you're allowed to read it. So therefore, people will have their own scrolls. They'll sit there with their own scroll. If they think they missed a word, they'll say, "Vayhi b'mei Achashverosh." Hu Achashverosh me'melkosh she'ev Achashimia medina. They missed the word. Oh, they'll read it inside the Megillah at the spot. That way, they fulfill, because it has to be read from a Megillah. It cannot be read from a Siddur. You don't fulfill your obligation of hearing the Megillah if somebody reads it from a paper-bound book. You only fulfill the mitzvah, the commandment of reading the Megillah, if you're actually holding the Megillah. So therefore, there are people in the shul you'll see when you go, in most shuls, I can't say every shul, there's always a few guys with their own Megillahs there, their own scrolls, actual papers, actual parchment scrolls, sitting there reading it from inside with the laner, with the reader. So that way, they make sure they get every single word. In theory, you don't even need to read it with the tune. As long as you read the words, you fulfill the commandment of reading the Megillah. I remember we had a story once. Someone in our community was flying to Australia over Purim. He's a Baal Tshuva, someone who became religious. And he did not know the tune or even the Nikudot, which are the vowels under the words for the Megillah. And so he bought himself a Megillah. And he had a 5 books of Moses, and most of them in the back have the 5 Megillahs as well. And he sat on a plane and he read one word by one word, side by side. He had the actual scroll and the actual book. He looked at the book, Vayehi, and then he read Vayehi, Bimei, Achashverosh. On the plane, he said it took like 2-3 hours, but he read the whole Megillah out loud, word for word, and he fulfilled his obligation, even though he didn't know the tune. As long as you read the words properly, you are fulfilled the mitzvah. You do not need a minyan. You do not need 10 men there like you do need for other traditions in Judaism and other laws. For example, in shul, when you hear the Torah reading, you need to have 10 men to have the aliyah process, right? You need 10 men for a minyan. You do not need 10 people for the Megillah reading. It can be just for one person. If the Megillah reader already heard the Megillah, you would be the one to make the blessing on it. So let's say I'm going to pick a name on the screen here. I have to read the Megillah for Jessica. Jessica's at home, and she didn't hear the Megillah that day, and she calls the rabbi and says, "Rabbi, I couldn't come to shul. I wasn't feeling great. Can you come read the Megillah for me? I come to your house. I'll open the Megillah. You'll make the blessings because I already heard it. Once you fulfill the mitzvah, you can't now fulfill it for somebody else because you've done the job complete. You don't need to hear it anymore. So whoever needs to hear it will make the blessing, and you read the Megillah." Okay.
Rabbi,
Yes.
can you please clarify the friend that was traveling to Australia? If you have to fulfill the mitzvah by hearing it, how did he then fulfill the mitzvah if he didn't hear it at a shul live?
He heard it from himself. He read
That
it.
counts.
Correct. What do you mean? When the person who reads the Torah in the synagogue, he also fulfills the commandment of listening to the Torah in the synagogue. When someone blows the shofar, he himself
Right.
fulfills the commandment of the
Oh,
shofar.
I misunderstood.
That's okay. Yeah, good question though. Is the person reading and fulfilling the commandments? Great question. So that is the Megillah reading. You're supposed to hear it twice, as we discussed in the last class. I'm just reiterating some of the laws just to get everyone ready. Then there'll be a break fast afterwards in the shul or at home, some bagels and lox, some hamantashen, and that is how we celebrate the fast. And I use the word celebrate because it's a great miracle that happened. Okay. In the Megillah reading, there will be a few parts where you'll hear people reading out loud. So in the actual Megillah, when you read it, you'll see there's some highlighted words. If you want, you can practice them beforehand. And those highlighted words, when the reader gets to them, he is going to pause. And then everyone is going to read those words out loud. One line is, Ish Yehudi, Shushan Abira, Hu Mordechai, something, right? That's one place. Another one is the names of the sons of Haman that were hung. There are 3 places, I think. that we read it out loud as a community together. So you'll see if you have a Megillah in your home, you can go online. You can, and all the Megillas will tell you at what point it's read. There are 10 chapters. One's in the last chapter, one's in the first chapter, I think, and one's in the ninth chapter. If my memory serves me correct. I haven't looked at it since last year, but I'm pretty sure that's how it looks.
Rabbi, I have a question. This is
Shoot.
Shalem. So like there's some of my friends that they do have the scrolls that they bring to shul.
Sure.
But I have the little booklet that
Yeah.
we also use at shul. So if for some reason I can't make it there, is reading it out of the booklet as good as reading it from the scroll?
Most definitely not.
Okay, that's what I thought you said. I was just double checking. Sorry, I'm working and wanted to make sure I caught that. Okay.
Okay.
But I could call my friend who has the scroll and I could call and could he read it to me over the phone or something?
It needs to be in person.
In person. Okay.
It's an interesting question. We've discussed this in the past, and maybe we'll have a class on it, but there are certain commandments that can be done over the phone and certain that can't.
Okay.
That's a very good question. For example, hearing a siyum, which is a public celebration of a siyum mitzvah, which is a meal for completing something successfully, like reading the Talmud or finishing a book in Talmud, things like that, you can do over the phone, right? Because the mitzvah, the commandment, is not the sounds that you've heard over the phone. But for Megillah, the mitzvah of the Megillah is to hear the words of the person reading the Megillah. When you hear somebody speaking over a phone or over Zoom, we are not actually hearing the actual words of the person speaking.
Oh, okay. That makes sense, I guess.
Right? When I'm talking to you now, you don't hear the sound coming out of my mouth. You hear some sort of the sound changes over, waves, and then it becomes,
Right.
into words. I'm not a electrical engineer, but I'm sure it sounds something like that. Okay, so that's the reading the Megillah needs to be in person. I was going to say another fun thing to look at when you hear the Megillah reading is there's a line that says, the king's sleep was disturbed. And you're going to hear that the reader is going to scream out those words. I'm trying to think. Again, I didn't prepare to say these things, so I don't remember the locations for it. I was planning on just speaking about the fast, but the Lashon is, here's the words. It says, you'll hear, Balayla hahu nadada shnas hamelech. And you'll hear the reader who's reading it, I think it's the fourth chapter, the fifth chapter, is going to raise his voice and he's going to scream it out. It's customary to do this because that, according to tradition, is when the miracle starts to happen. So when you're in shul, is another thing so you have a few things that are going to happen during the Megillah reading. There'll be 3 times where you will have to read the words with the community from the Megillah, so you should practice those words. The second thing that's going to happen that you can look out for, you'll hear him sing, Vayilaylahu nadada shnas hamelech. In addition, there is no speaking during the Megillah reading. Very important. The Megillah reading has 2 blessings, or a few blessings, but the entry blessing of the Megillah and the conclusion blessing of the mitzvah of the Megillah. Just like in a lot of parts of prayer, you'll see there's a beginning blessing of a paragraph, and then the end of the paragraph, there's like an end blessing. This is a certain structure of blessing where there's like the beginning and the end. And so we're not supposed to speak in between a blessing, because when you say God's name, you're not supposed to interrupt when you're saying God's name. So too with the Megillah reading, we have the beginning and end blessing. There's the Megillah reading in the middle. If you speak in middle, it's as if you are breaking the blessing almost, and you are, I guess in a certain sense, showing that you're not accepting this process. Must be a better way of explaining this. But whatever the case might be, when we read the Megillah, you should not speak from the beginning of the Megillah to the end of the Megillah. Now, you're going to say, Rabbi, how long is the Megillah reading? Every shul is different. Depends how fast the reader is. It could be anywhere between 20 and 45 minutes is usually how long the Megillah reading is. So you'll go to shul, you'll have a great time, and you will dress up. What will you dress up as? Great question. I don't know. This is on you. You'll have a lot of fun. You'll dress up. It's not just for kids. Adults can dress up as well. There's a lot of mystical reasons of why people dress up. One of them that comes to mind, I think, is like there's books and books on all the different reasons, but one of them is just like the story of Purim. God was hidden and was not revealed, that he was the one that performed this miracle. So too, we hide our faces to show that sometimes things are not what they seem. And that's one of the reasons why people dress up. There's many, many different reasons. Just a nice, fun reason. Should you dress up? If you're not dressing up, you should dress in Shabbos clothing, in your, fancier clothing to show honor to the holiday. So if you're not dressing up, the tradition is to wear, like your Shabbos clothing, whatever you would wear on Shabbos. Easiest thing is for women to wear Queen Esther outfits and boys to wear Mordechai outfits. That's what as kids everybody wants to be, right? A princess and a king. Those are two fun things to do. What else do we need to get ready for? Somebody in the chat asked about giving Mishloach Manos, which is the two presents. So just a quick reminder, there are 4 mitzvahs for the holiday. There are 4 things we need to do. One is to the Megillah 2 times, at night and in the morning. The second thing is giving money to the poor people. 2 poor people get money from you. Who should it be given to? Somebody texted me and said, Rabbi, should I give to Kol Chabad or one of these organizations? That's okay, but you need to make sure that the organization that you're giving it to will be handing out that money on the holiday. It needs to be given out on Purim. 2 poor people need to receive the cost of 2 meals, right? 1 meal per person. You give to as many organizations as you can. It's also a time to add in charity. It's a special month to add in charity. It's a special day to add in charity. Right, to tzedakah, tatzil mamaves. It says that charity saves you from death. And so there's a lot of great opportunities for charity. But to fulfill the mitzvah of giving it to a poor person, it needs to be on the day of Purim. 2 poor people, 2 Jewish poor people, right? It has to be Jewish people. And the reason is, can anyone tell me? Why does it have to be 2 Jewish people? We discussed it last time. You guys are being bad listeners.
What's the question, Rabbi?
Good. Oscar, why do you have to give tzedakah to 2 poor people that are Jewish?
That are Jewish?
Why Jewish?
Actually, we're fulfilling the mitzvah of taking ourselves, to taking our old food and giving to poor Jewish people.
Yes.
Yes, it's like a kind of it's a part of our fasting. Yes.
Okay, but to add to what Oscar is trying to say is because the point of giving the money is that they should be able to eat a Purim meal. Right? We're giving money to poor people so that they can eat a meal on Purim. So if you give it to someone who's not Jewish, they do not need to eat a meal on Purim, right? Eating a meal on Purim is only a commandment for Jews. Good. Now, that's not saying you shouldn't give people that are not Jewish charity. We're saying here that you're giving it to a Jew because the Jew that you're giving the money to is supposed to take that money now and buy themselves food for a Purim meal, which is the 3rd commandment, or the 3rd law, which is to have a Purim meal, right? The 3rd mitzvah, have a Purim meal. So if you're poor and you don't have money to buy a Purim meal, how are you going to buy it? Very simple. Other Jews are going to give you charity. How much? The amount of a meal. Why the amount of a meal? So you may go out and buy a meal for Purim. Okay, good.
Rabbi,
So, yes,
to be super nitpicky in the question,
that's
so
what I like to hear.
so for example, like you know, to give a poor person near sundown on the second day of the holiday. And then the second part is just like a general question. Is it 2 days in the diaspora or is it also in Israel 2 days? So two questions.
Well, in the diaspora, it is 1 day, right? In Israel, it's 2 days.
So,
In the
oh,
diaspora, it is the start at the night. Well, this year, it starts Monday night at nightfall and ends Tuesday night.
oh, right. So the fast is the lead up to, it's not part of the holiday.
That's correct. It's two separate things.
Okay.
It's not the holiday of Purim. It's a separate fast called the Fast of Esther.
So that's where Meshlach Munis comes from, right? The aspect of giving something to eat for a person.
Exactly. That is the fourth item of Purim, right? There are four special mitzvahs of Purim. The fourth one is giving the shloach manos, giving two ready-to-eat foods. Why ready-to-eat? So you can eat it at the meal. So two ready-to-eat foods need to be given to at least one person. Can you give it to your spouse? Preferably not. You should be giving it to somebody else. Should they be Jewish? Yes. Why? Because only a Jewish person needs to eat a meal on Purim, right? So, can you give it to someone who's not Jewish? Sure. It's a beautiful thing. If you have neighbors that are not Jewish and you want to include them in your Purim festivities, go for it. But at minimum, at least one Jew needs to receive two ready-to-eat foods from you because that person will hopefully take that. Well, doesn't mean they will take it, but they can take it and have a meal with it. I've heard that it's very common, and I see it, that people give wine as one of the two ready-to-eat foods, which is very logical because that's something that would be very commonly used at a Purim meal. So very often people, two things. Everyone can give whatever you want. It doesn't make a difference. It could be two things that are the same blessing, two things that are different blessings, as long as it's two ready-to-eat foods. So, to my knowledge, the Chabad Rebbe would send the Satmar Rebbe an orange and a honey cake. That's what the Rebbe used to serve. It was sent to the Satmar Rebbe. Why? I'm not sure, but just an interesting thing. Very common. So again, now, if you are married and you guys are sending out baskets from your family to other families, make sure that at some point the husband hands one to somebody and the wife hands one to somebody on the day of, right? Because you'd be like, oh, we're just a team, we're just sending them out. Make sure that each one fulfills the commandment of giving it to somebody else. Good?
Rabbi, wait, in that basket, does can it be 2 bottles of wine? Or does it have to be like two different? It
Yes,
can't
it
be
could
two
be
bottles of
two
wine.
bottles of wine. It could be the
Okay.
same it could be the same blessing, which means two of the same thing. It shouldn't be a problem. It just needs to be something that is completely cooked, ready to eat. It can't be something that is, and it needs to be at least the kazayas, which is the amount that it would be for someone to make a blessing on something. Right? So you can't give somebody a half an ounce of wine and a half an ounce of wine. It needs to be at least a kazayas, which is basically the size of an olive, an ounce, something like that. So if you're giving someone candies, give them 4 candies. Don't give them 1 candy. Sometimes you see in these really fancy, I'm not sure if you guys have experienced this yet, but you'll see as you get more accustomed to the holiday and more entrenched in the Jewish tradition, people get more crazy and crazier about how the Shalach Manos looks. And they become much more extravagant and bigger and crazier and more expensive. And sometimes they're so big and extravagant and crazy, they don't even have food in it. They give you like a tzedakah box with Megillah in it. And they forget that the whole point is that you need to get 2 ready-to-eat foods. So if you're buying, someone once sent us like something very fancy, and it had like 1 candy in it. And it's like, you didn't fulfill the commandment, not the commandment, the mitzvah of giving shalach manas to somebody, right? Now it's beautiful, and I'm happy to receive shalach manas from everybody, and it's a big honor to receive it. But if you're giving them and you want to fulfill the commandment, the mitzvah, make sure it has two reiki foods. Okay, so just quickly, there's 4 commandments, right? I'm going to repeat this over and over and over again until everybody gets it solidified in their brains. You hear the Megillah 2 times. You give Mishlayach Manes, you give somebody 2 reiki foods. You give 2 people that need money, homeless people, 2 people, charity. 4th thing is you have a festive meal, right? 2 of the things that we're doing is for the meal, festive meal. And I'm going to remind you, it needs to be the day of Purim. Now, a lot of people, a lot of communities have their meals the next day at night, right? So I'm not sure what you guys are doing at your shul, but our shul is going to be having a Purim party the night of Purim, which is after Purim. So if that's what you're doing in your community, you should make sure that before the sun gets dark, you wash your hands and you have bread. And that way you start the festive meal before it gets dark, so you've accomplished the Purim Seudah. Now, if you, not everyone here lives in, big Jewish communities, but like, for example, if you live in Crown Heights, they are having meals all day long. You drive around, people having meals at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. And I once dropped off, Mishloach Manos, which is 2 ready foods at my uncle's house at 12 o'clock, and they were grilling up steaks. So people are having meals all day, Purim day, because as long as you just need to have one meal. So again, 4, you get a Megillah 2 times, give 2 ready foods to somebody. Again, on the day of Purim. Another thing, I know this is like a funny thing to think about, but a lot of people, let's say they have a friend they want to give Mishleach Manos to, and they live in Africa or in Australia or England or in America. They go online and they order a Mishleach Manos to be sent to them. Or you put it in the mail, right? If it doesn't hit them on the day of Purim, you have not fulfilled the mitzvah of giving Mishleach Manos to somebody on Purim. Funny thing to think about, but a lot of communities have these split the pot where you give X amount of money and they give everyone in the community 1 Mishleach Manos, and the rest of the money goes to the synagogue. Beautiful, amazing, do it. Also give somebody, hand it over to fulfill the commandment. So give the Megillah twice, give Mishleach Manos, give 2 poor people that are Jewish money. It could be that you give it to organizations just to make sure that organization is giving it on the day of Purim. And the 4th is to have a festive meal with the family. Those are the 4 things for Purim. Any questions?
Can I ask a strange question?
Sure.
Is it so? Let's say like your entire community isn't Jewish, but you have a small Jewish community that you're with. Not a lot of my Jewish community friends are poor. Is it offensive to say, can I give you money? Does anyone ever get offended by being seen as the poor Jew that you choose?
Well, you're going to have 2 problems. First of all, they have to actually be poor. That's the first thing. And the Torah has very strict guidelines on what a poor person is.
Mm-hmm.
According to the Torah, a poor person is someone who doesn't have more than $200 in his bank account.
Oh.
It gets a little challenging. That's also why sometimes it's actually easier to give it to an organization. But you just need to make sure that the organizations you give it to are ones that are giving it out to, poor families that need it the day of Purim. And most organizations that are they are collecting for Purim are very meticulous about making sure that it's given out on Purim.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Do you have any recommendations, like of a specific, like Chabad or anything that will do it, or who gives out food vouchers for Purim in Israel?
Right. So I think Kollel Chabad does it. They're pretty good. They do I think they're the largest organization that gives out food vouchers in Israel for families. I will see if I can get 1 or 2 links. My father does it as well. We help out, some people in the neighborhood here or surrounding neighborhoods. That's option 1. Like you said, if you're in a community that probably doesn't have with God's help, there's not a lot of poor people, right? You could give it to another community. It doesn't need to be in your community. It just needs to be done the day of. You can make somebody else a shaliach, right? I'm sure everyone heard the word Chabad shliach. The word Chabad, like a Chabad rabbi who's a shliach. The word shliach means emissary. You can make somebody else an emissary for you to do things for you in Jewish law. For example, not in all things, but you can make somebody an emissary to, for example, hand over a contract, like a divorce contract in Judaism. As well, you could give someone else the responsibility to give charity for you on the day of.
So then you can arrange ahead of time your charity as long as the charity gives it right on Purim. So right, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, so just try to make sure you're doing that. And start scoping out poor people. Start going around. I mean, people that need help. In the yeshiva world, they always say that a yeshiva bacher, a loophole, I guess, is you're allowed to give it to a boy or a girl that is in school in yeshiva, because students do not own anything of their own, right? Everything that they own is really owned by their parents. So that's a little bit of a loophole. In yeshiva, everybody would hand money to each other. It was like this little game that everyone did. But in theory, that's an option. You give it to yeshiva boys or girls that, right, in theory, they don't actually own anything. Everything they own is owned by their parents. I mean, thinking in that logic, I'm sure there are other loopholes that you can come up with. But the best thing, if you can find someone that, a family or someone, I mean, I have to ask a rabbi about this, but in theory, if someone is in debt, right, even if they have $200 in their account, they are in a negative. So that's an option. I'm not asking you to start, walking around to ask people if they're, have a bad home loan or something, but those are things that we could do. But yeah, just there are organizations that do it. That's probably the easiest way to do it. I do both personally. I try to give it to 2 or 3 organizations, and I try to walk around. You'll see, like in a lot of the big Jewish communities, tons of people will go to the bank and pull out like cash and just walk around and like $2, $5, just giving out to people in order to fulfill the commandment. I keep saying the commandment, not a commandment, to fulfill the mitzvah of giving charity to the homeless. Okay, any other questions?
Rabbi,
No. Yes.
I have a question. So
Sure.
yesterday at shul, somebody told me about a situation of a person, a Jewish person who's actually going through a, very difficult situation. And I thought about, this special occasion and the opportunity and how this person is becoming like a vessel, for me to know about this other person who is in need. But I don't know her. And I was planning to send her some charity with this, person who told me about her story. So now, if when I give her I actually already sent her the money because, we're getting closer. And I don't know if they live to get close enough for her to give her the charity. So did I do the right thing, or how would I have done it? Or can I still do anything else? Or
Just to repeat the question, you have someone in the community that needs help. You gave them money to help them out,
yeah.
but it was done before Purim. And
Not
you're
yet.
asking,
I just gave it to the person who knows the person in need.
right? So the middle person who was going to be distributing the
Correct.
charity. Okay, and it's for Purim.
So, so should I tell her to wait until the day off, or can she give it to her like, I don't know,
I would
today?
say tell her to give her most of the money now so they can buy things for the holiday, and maybe to send her $10 at the end on the day of the.
Okay.
So that way you get both. You hit both stuff.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
That's just an idea I thought of. Okay, good. That's a great question. Any other questions? No. Okay, it's a very simple class today. We just hashed out and discussed the laws of Purim. It's a very simple, exciting, fun holiday, but sometimes we get so excited about the drinking and the meals and the partying, we do not remember to do all four of the mitzvahs, all four of the special things we're supposed to on this holiday. So try to get it all out as early as possible. That way you could go and have l'chaim with your friends. There is an idea to drink on Purim. You should not become, I'm trying to think of the right word here.
Stupid drunk.
Intoxicated.
You are. That's the problem. So the Shulchan Aruch says, the Code of Jewish Law says that you should be so drunk that you can't know the difference between blessed is Haman and cursed is Mordechai. That's how drunk you should be. So how do you fulfill this law? Just I guess I'll end off with this. How do you fulfill this law that you will be so intoxicated that you should not know the difference between blessed is Haman and cursed is Mordechai and cursed is Mordechai and blessed is Haman? There are many ways of fulfilling this. Some rabbis take a nap on Purim. And by taking a nap, they drink a little wine and they take a nap. By taking a nap, you are obviously in a different realm, so therefore you do not know the difference. Other rabbis say that you should be on such a spiritual high, learning so much Torah on the day of Purim, that you are completely in a different world. And blessings and curses are synonymous with each other because in the higher realms, everything is spirituality. That's another opinion. The simplest opinion is just to get completely smashed. Now, I will see what happens for myself and all of you here. I hope you guys will all have a great time. But you should definitely have some l'chaim. I would say not to have too much l'chaim that you are disrespecting yourself or others, but except for that, there's actually a commandment. This is not a commandment, a mitzvah. This is the only holiday in the year that there is a mitzvah to drink. The only holiday. Simchas Torah, there is no mitzvah to drink. This is the only holiday that there is a mitzvah to drink. So there's I've given you three ways to fulfill it. One is you can drink a little wine, take a nap. The other one is to learn so much Torah that you are so enthralled by holiness that everything is holiness. And the third might be the easiest, is to make l'chaim. Specifically, it's supposed to be on wine, not on hard alcohol, which is another thing. As you'll read that there's a idea of a certain amount of lugim to drink, a certain amount of wine to drink, because it says when wine goes in, the secrets come out, and wine is pressed. And the Jews were oppressed, and through oppression brings out who we truly are. Just like wine, when you squeeze it, you squeeze grapes, the wine comes out. The word yain, there's a lot of different reasons why, specifically through wine. Okay, end off on a high note, I guess. Yes,
Rabbi,
Henrietta.
I just wanted to ask you if it's a mitzvah to drink, what would the rabbi say if you don't drink at all? Like, because I don't drink at all. So
I just told you what to do. I gave you two other
just
options.
get high on Torah. Okay.
You get high on Torah. I think the Belzer, the Samar Rebbe, they would have like a little sip of wine and then they would take a nap on the day of Purim.
Okay,
So
just a little sip.
I mean, if you're an alcoholic, obviously you should not drink any wine. But if you're not, you could have a little sip of wine, and you could fulfill the commandment of
having a little drink.
The mitzvah of drinking the actual wine and get high on the spirituality.
On the spirituality. Okay, yeah.
Or take a nap.
Or take a nap. But
take a nap, right? All different ways of doing it. Okay, will there be a coffee shop conversation for this?
There's a coffee shop conversation. So it's 3:40 now. Oh, sorry, that's English time. So it's 10. What is it there? 10:40. So we'll do it in 5 minutes. And I'll send a link to the coffee shop. It's just for everybody to gather. The rabbi won't be here with us, but we'll just be sharing with each other, questions and answers about our conversion journey, sharing information, books, practices. It's really good. I found it really, really helpful, and I think everyone else has too. And it's a chance to get to know each other, seeing as we're going forward together on this journey. So I encourage everyone to join, particularly pre-Purim. It would be great.
Great, thank you, Henrietta. Have a beautiful Purim, buddy. There will not be a class on Tuesday, as you can imagine. We're hoping Rabbi Winter will be intoxicated either with spirituality or other things. And I know he has his own Purim party, so he will be enjoying his Purim party with his community. So have a happy and healthy Purim with you and your family. Enjoy the beautiful holiday, and don't forget to fulfill all 4 things. And those that are fasting, just fast. You should know, there's if you cannot fast, you can call a rabbi and get a heter, which is a leniency not to fast. Some people have like health issues and blood things and low blood sugar and all that kind of stuff, or you're pregnant or all those other things. You do not need a fast if it's going to hurt you. Just so you should know, don't hurt yourself to fast. Have a beautiful Purim, everybody.
No class on
Thank you,
Tuesday.
Rabbi.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Purim
Rabbi.
Sameach.
Rabbi.
Sameach.
Purim, everybody.
I'll
No
see you
class
guys.
on Tuesday.
No class on Tuesday.
Okay.
Happy Purim, everyone.
Bye.